Welcome to another edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, sponsored by UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City. And we're going to talk a little bit about last week's game with Indianapolis. And, Coach, I thought, several instances we moved the football, got the ball in the red zone, but couldn't quite close the deal.
Yeah, there were some good things from that sense. And we were hoping we could pick up where we left off the week before against St. Joe offensively and with all the things we did good in that game. And we really did some of those things again on Saturday. Difference is we were playing a different team defensively.
Very good team.
We played against St. Joseph. They're one of the top 2-3 teams in the region, I think, this week for a reason.
Right.
And, undefeated in our conference and scoring. I don't think they've scored under 45 points since week 2 or week 3 of the season. So they can do some things, and they're holding points down on everybody. So we had really high aspirations for what we might be able to do going into it. And I thought we moved the ball really well at times. And we get in the red zone and the zone shrink and everybody's a little bit closer to the ball, as you know. And unfortunately couldn't get one in the end zone. But there's some positive there as well. And we got to continue to work with those. Consistency in the red zone we've actually been pretty good with here outside of the first couple of weeks of the season.
Really have improved this season most of the time in the red zone.
Through the middle of the year, it's been fairly good. And then, we sputtered a little bit in some situations on Saturday and with getting in the end zone. But, all is not lost. We're still fairly healthy on offense, although we're maybe down another offensive lineman and have some beat up tight ends and some of those things. But, everybody's injured at this end of the this time during the season. I've never been in part of a season where we've been quite this injured, but that's part of the game.
Well, let me say something. We talked about this before, and you talked with a coach with Indianapolis, and this is kind of what I've been preaching the whole year to the people when I'm doing the games, and I sincerely believe this. I really do. And deep in all the years I've coached, I've been around a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going from NAIA to the Division II level. The thing that you'll notice at any level, I think the University of Missouri's experience in being in the Southeast Conference is a different level.
Yeah.
And where you'll notice it is as the season wears on, the depth issue, the talent level and depth issue is just not the same.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you brought up the University of Missouri. We walked through Missouri on Friday on our way to Indianapolis. And, as maybe some people know, there's 3 guys off our staff over the last couple of years that Coach Pinkel has hired at the University of Missouri.
You have a connection. They came summer camp here.
We know those guys very well and have been friends for a long time. And again, some guys that have coached for me are now coaching there.
Right.
And that's great. Great opportunity for those guys. But it's eerie how similar our seasons are and how many correlations there are, They're stepping into a new conference, and one could argue the fact a higher level of competition. The SEC, you talk to NFL guys, they look at the SEC as a step above college football a little bit.
Well, consistently you're playing great players.
And so they're, joining a new conference, stepping up a level of competition and experiencing some of the same things that we are in a sense. And so, it was funny. We were sitting there talking to those guys after our walkthrough for 10 or 15 minutes and just, how similar we are in some of those. So it was interesting you brought that up because I just had that conversation the other day. And yeah, is it a step up? No doubt. And especially when you're completely healthy, you're gonna have some high competition games. And unfortunately, when you still got a pretty young team and you're trying to get healthy and battle through some of those things, some of those setbacks are harder to overcome. Now we got to still battle every day to overcome them, and we are. And, we're going to keep doing it this week and see how Saturday ends.
Well, I think your task, and I'm not trying to make excuses, I'm talking reality. As a coach, but more importantly as an outsider looking into your program and seeing it up front all the time. I see it up front all the time. That I think your real a goal, I think, the rest of the year is for your team to improve in their areas as they go along.
Absolutely.
Because this is a building process.
No doubt.
You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I know what our team is, and I'm very fortunate to be around them every day and see what they're made up of, and all of those things, and the different ages, from seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and how the team dynamic is. And I told a parent this the other day, and I think maybe you and I have talked about it. Despite our record this year, this is one of the more enjoyable teams I've been around or coached in my career. And that has nothing to do with wins and losses. That has to do with
the people, with
how they come to work every day.
You bet. And
the effort they give and the dedication that they put into it. And, I wouldn't trade them. Would we love to be wherever many games we played 9-0 right now? Yeah, anybody would. Reality is that's not where we're at. But guys still come to work every day, and guys still play hard in the fourth quarter, and I see those things week in and week out, and I can't ask any more from our team right now. Do I ask more of them in practice? Sure, I do. You always ask for more, but they're giving good effort, and they're taking a good approach, and so I'm really proud of them for that, because in a season like this with all of the adversity, inner adversity, outer adversity, injuries, all of those things, it can be really easy for an 18, 19, 20-year-old to say, what, why put all this effort and this time into something like this, and they just keep rolling through it.
Sometimes life's lessons are hard, but sometimes they're most rewarding down the road, and I think that's what my point is, that we've just got to be patient and realize where we're going.
Absolutely.
That ends this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll get right back, talk a little bit about defense and specialty teams. I want to thank UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City.
It was a whole lot of fun, and we did some really good things, and got off the field, and guys were having fun.
What's my motto? Play to win. What's the key? Logistics. It takes planning. Everybody on the same page. Check this out. This is my playbook. Serious business. Right player, right place, right time. Did it at the UPS store. Bam! High five. Color, pictures, charts, graphics. Nice, huh? I love logistics.
It says in the book we should play as a team.
Professional color printing. Now at the UPS store.
My name is Jesse Limeculer, CEO of Belvoir Winery. We provide a unique experience in that it's a historic building. We allow people to bring in their own caterers to have a nice formal sit-down meal or something that's social and very casual. We have a lot of the original door frames, the doors themselves, the windows, some of the original windows with the wavy glass are still in here. The wood floor, the tile floor entry is original as well, which is actually directly into the concrete. Belvoir Winery, 110 years in the making.
Welcome back to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, sponsored by UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City. And Coach, I was a defensive coordinator for actually 28 years, and I had to bring offensive linemen over to play defensive line, because there was times where I had, and particularly as a high school coach, which was what I was my entire career, we had to makeshift things. We had to do that all the time in high school, and you're experiencing a little bit of that. Why don't you tell the Cardinal fans exactly some of the things you've gone through with all the injuries on defense?
You wouldn't think that those are situations you look at as a college coach, but we're in the same boat. It's how creative can you be with what personnel you have left, and we took an offensive lineman last week, Brian Keller, and moved him to defensive nose, and he played a lot of snaps for us on Saturday. Never played nose before, and did a really good job of stepping in there and doing what we were asking him to do. Now, we didn't try and reinvent the wheel for him. We gave him some simple tasks.
Some basic looks.
And you know what? But if a guy who's never played there before, you've got to keep it, as clear as possible. And I praise him for the effort he gave and the positive things he did for us on Saturday. But no, we didn't travel very many guys defensively.
19 or 20 guys, and you could travel 60. I mean, really, you think about it, because a lot of your, and truthfully, I guess I sound like a lawyer defending you somewhat here, but I'm not. But defensively, a lot of the kids that play specialties in particular are defensive guys.
Yeah, no different.
A lot of them.
No different for us, and most defensive guys, at least at the skill position and big skill positions, are going to play a lot for you on special teams, and we're learning how to adjust to this, because it's been that way. Really, our defensive injury started in the Kentucky Wesleyan game. Right. If you look back to Nick Cody and Eric Jackson and Nick Messer and
particularly at the linebacker position.
Sam Jacks was the first quarter of the South Dakota Mines game the week after, and that's where they started, and then just kept piling up after that. you know, it is what it is. Have I ever been a part of it quite like this as a coach? No. But you know what? I'm better because of it now. Our team's going to be better because of it, you know, going forward, because we understand that, hey, you just got to keep going. Next man up, next man up, and next man up until you until you run out of next man up, and then you change your plan a little bit, and you keep building the next man up. And you know, that's what we've done. Has it been pretty? At times, no, not at all. And it's not because of lack of effort or lack of want to. You know, and Saturday, you know, there was some really bright spots defensively on Saturday. I will tell you this, I had as much fun in the first half of Saturday's game coaching as I've had in a long time.
Well, you were excited about the game plan because we talked about it after the show last week.
We just, you know, it was a whole lot of fun. And we did some really good things and you know, got off the field and you know, guys were having fun and making plays and playing against as good of offensive team, you know, as there is in our conference. You know, and defensively as well, they're really good in all phases. That's why they're the top dog. But, you know, those guys are resilient. And honestly, the ones of those 19 or 20 guys we traveled, you know, we're down a couple more. We had a few more injuries in Saturday's game. But of those guys we traveled, I'm not sure there's one of them that's healthy. You know, when you're playing with that few of that short of a deck, those guys are playing a lot of plays and they're pretty beat up. But you know what? They'll tell you, hey, there's 2 competitions left. We've got whatever it is, 12 days, 6 practices, and 2 walkthroughs and 2 competitions. What am I going to save it for? You know, I've got the off season to heal.
You know, a guy like Bullis. I mean, you're talking about a whole bunch of kids, and you love them all because you're the head coach. But as again, an outside observer looking in, I mean, Bullis is holding his shoulder, his leg. He is a warrior. And you know what? I always, particularly being a defensive coach, and you're going to respect this. I think you're looking for 11 guys that are warriors. No matter how it gets, one way or the other, you're in that foxhole. You're in that foxhole together, and you got a lot of those kind of kids.
We do, and it's fun to watch them. And you know, the exciting thing is we've got a lot of those, I think, on our redshirt class as well. And you know, it'll be interesting to see, you know, later on how it goes. But what we're focused on right now is how we finish these last 12 days and what we can put together in those last 12 days to continue to grow.
You bet, and that's what I'm saying about building a program for you right now is that you want to get better every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you just got to keep that up. Well, that finishes the second segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, sponsored by UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City. We'll be right back in just a second.
It'll be quite a trip, but, you know, we'll put together the best plan we can and go give the best effort we can give.
So, I'm my own man. I can work from home. I can make meetings, I can make deadlines, I can make proposals, I can remember birthdays, I can entertain clients, I can pay for lunch. Yeah, I can do it 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:15, I can do anything. Done, on it, yes, taken care of. 50 two-sided bound color presentations by tomorrow, I can do that. How do I do that? I love logistics.
Foreclosure, repossession, garnishment. Costello and Farah can fight for you.
Are creditors threatening to take your property or your money? My office has helped thousands of people in the Kansas City area protect their assets through debt reorganization or bankruptcy protection. Call my office at 816-505-HELP and see if we can help you protect your assets and get you back on your feet.
The attorneys of Costello and Farah, lawyers who will fight for you. Call 816-505-HELP today.
Who's serving up a big breakfast this weekend?
On an endless buffet, a juicy steak.
Don't flip out.
Only Golden Corral would include steak for breakfast. It's on our endless weekend breakfast buffet, all for a great low price. Only at Golden Corral.
Welcome back to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, sponsored by UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City. And, Coach, we always touch upon special teams. We're going to do that, and we'll talk a little bit about the 2 games we have remaining this season. But let's start with special teams. I think it's been pretty much a solid strength the entire year. We've had a couple slip-ups, and we've had a couple things, but over 11-game season, you're going to have some of those. But overall, you have to be pretty pleased.
You know, I am, and we played, again, when you're good on offense and defense like Indianapolis is, you're going to be good on special teams, and they didn't disappoint there either. And I thought we hung in there really well with them. They had one long punt return. We tried to keep the ball away from their punter. we went into Saturday's game with 5 different ways to punt the ball. Zane Kitchell got hurt. And we didn't talk about Zane's injury, but Zane got hurt in the first half of the McKendree game, so we've been without our true punter for several weeks now. And Warren's been doing a great job of stepping in there.
Getting better and better.
And handling both responsibilities. DJ punted for us a couple of times on Saturday to put a quarterback back there and snap the ball to, and we've got all kinds of fake things with him when the quarterback's in the game, which is, kind of fun.
You bet.
And we surprised onside to coming out of the half, and didn't quite get it. Guy made a good play on the front line, but we went into the game with the idea we weren't going to leave anything to chance. We were going to use the things that we had, and we took some chances there. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, but that's what happens when you roll the dice a little bit in the situation we were at. But our return games were good again. We were over 22 yards on kickoff returns, and punt return schemes. We did okay there. We should have blocked a punt. We were so good in the pressure on our punt block team that the ball went under the guy's arm, literally. So we're on the punter, and we didn't do a very good job of taking it off his foot, and it came underneath his arm. So he kind of ran by it, the block point actually, and so those things are all good. And again, we continue to give really good effort there, and really excited about how that group's evolved through the season. That's been a very big strong point for us, and we'll need to continue to play well in those areas the next couple of games here to continue to advance like we want to.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Urbana and Quincy. Those are 2 games. Of course, we're on the road again, and 4 home games and 7 on the road, and I mean major trips on the road. In my opinion, that's a real tough learning experience for a young unit, and it really is an adjustment for them. But like you always say, which I really respect when you say this, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so we got another 10-hour trip to Urbana. We'll talk about that one first.
It's 10 and a half.
10 and a half hours, okay. That's even further than Rapid City.
No, it's about 45 minutes shorter than Rapid City as the crow. as we drive it.
Yeah.
So, we've played in 6 different states this year.
Right.
And so for geography and for their, a lot of those guys going forward, they've been in at least 4 or 5 different states that some of them have never been in.
Should be getting mileage at points.
So that part of it's, is what it is. But, like you said, those things there was a lot of those things we couldn't control on the scheduling side of things, unfortunately. And it is what it is, walking into a situation, and you do it and you make the best of it, and you keep rolling. And we get to take another trip this weekend and go down the road and play another conference school. Now this will be Urbana's final year in the conference, and we played them last year to a tough game here, and hoping to go on the road here. They lost a tough one this weekend at S&T. And one could say they should have maybe they had some chances to win it. They missed a couple extra points and a field goal and lost 13-12 on the road. So good football team. I'm not sure what their overall record is, but you watch them offensively and defensively. Again, they recruit from a great recruiting base, obviously being just outside of Columbus and just outside of Dayton in Ohio.
And good football country.
Really good football there in some surrounding states. And they do a nice job in recruiting, and so they've got some players running around out there and some guys that can do some good things. So it'll be a big test for us. Right now they're ranked 3rd in the conference, and it came down to last week's game against S&T to find out if they'd have a chance to be in the conference lead at the end of the year. And so it'll be quite a trip, but we'll put together the best plan we can and go give the best effort we can give and see how the ball bounces at the end.
Well, I think I'll put on my athletic director hat for all those years. I was at a big high school, had a hard time getting games because we had a good program and people didn't want to play us. I think what people need to understand, too, on the scheduling end of this, because I've had a lot of people come up and tell me, when you're coming in new, as the newborn in it's Division II, you have to swallow some of the schedule in order to get games.
Right, and a lot of those games were scheduled already before we were here. As our coaching staff and those things, Colorado Mines was done already, and the conference schedule just happened to be, we were playing S&T at their place last year, and then the conference schedule came out, and the conference scheduled us at S&T again, and so this was our year in the conference to have, one more game on the road than at home. So, that makes it it is what it is. You like to say you can control all those things that happen, but you can't. And when they fall into place like they have, you've got to go make the best of them. So you haven't heard me talk about it with our team as being a negative. It is what it is, and we've got to go do it. So
it's definitely been a learning experience.
Yeah, you know what? We will be better because of it in the long run. Now that doesn't do us a lot of good in the short term.
Sure.
But unfortunately, life's lessons are learned hard sometime, and at the end of the day, if you learn from it and become wiser for it, then you're better going forward.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Yep.
That ends this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, sponsored by UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City. We'll be right back with our last segment.
If you're really committed to what you do outside of your family, those things are going to come up.
This is corporate headquarters. As you can see, I have a unique business. How do I compete with the big boys? Got this fancy business address, a marketing department, distribution center, got a great team, even a cafeteria.
That's mine.
From packing and shipping to printing and mailbox services, come into the UPS store for everything a small business needs.
I love logistics.
Hello there, what's your name?
Her name's Mom.
Well, Mum, I've got a great idea. Why don't we invite your neighbours over and grill out?
Okay.
It's going to be fun. Let's make some T-bone steak and my chimichurri sauce. Now, you want to get high-vis Urbana steaks because they're 100% natural grain-fed quality beef. They look beautiful, mate.
Excellent.
Now we just add a little bit of lemon zest to the sauce. It's so easy.
Like this, Curtis?
That looks delicious. Come and get it. Oh, honey, it's so good. Mission accomplished. There's smiles all around.
Before the game or after the game, it's Poor Boy Oil Company for your pre- and post-game food and beverage. ConocoPhillips and BP Amoco Fuels get you to the game, and our large vendors give you great food and beverage choices before or after the game. Our small-town roots and family value philosophies help us to maintain the highest standards in customer service and value. Poor Boy Oil Company. Find us around the Northland, wherever the Cardinals fly.
Welcome back to the last segment Inside the Cardinal Playbook. UPS is our sponsor, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City. And, we get caught up so much in football, and people I don't think really realize what a commitment is. But you got a real important event coming up here. You got a little girl that's going to have her birthday on Halloween. And let me tell you, when you get to be an old man like me, and you got all them grandkids, that is the most important events you go to.
You know what? Our 2-year-old, well, she's soon to be 2-year-old daughter, Maren, you're right, turns 2 on Wednesday and Halloween.
Oh, no, she's a Halloween girl, little goblin.
Unfortunately, her birthday falls this week on a road game on a Thursday leave, and our schedule's already tight and trying to fit everything in, and I'm not a very good father this time of the year just because I'm not around very much, and that's hard the way it is. So I'm gonna try and figure out a way to sneak in my schedule at least 30 minutes to see her on that day and spend a little bit of time with her, hopefully, and those things are important too. But
no, they're not important. They're the most important.
It's.
I will have to tell you that, and I'm not talking down to you because I'm an old man, but that is the most important.
Those folks are pretty important people, as our whole team is. But
you bet. It's a family.
I get to spend a whole lot more time right now with my kids here, my 100 and whatever there are, 102, 103 kids here, than I ever get to do with my own, kids at home this time of year. And so the time I get to see them is pretty special, them and my wife, and just not near enough time at this time of the year. So.
Well, throughout my life, through almost 62 years now, I've questioned my insanity for doing what I did my whole life. But, you look back on it, and I think that my family respects the work ethic that people like you do and what you do in your profession. And I think my daughters learn that you have to work hard to be successful. So I do think that you are a good example. You're a little hard on yourself, so I'm going to be right in the public.
You hope they take some of those things from you, and you hope they also realize, in a sense, that you're crazy and that, hey, don't do that.
Coach, I didn't say you weren't sick. I didn't say you weren't a sicko.
It's funny. Our 4-year-old son, my wife, as a lot of people know, is a doctor. She's an OBGYN, and Dad's a football coach, and so our 4-year-old son, it's what are you going to be when you grow up? And it's week to week, doctor, football coach, and I tell him, when he says he wants to be a football coach, that he's crazy, he's making the wrong decision, and the next week he says he wants to be a doctor, and his mom tells him the same thing about being a doctor. So we all, whatever profession we're in, we have our challenges, and we have the things that we struggle with because of time or because of commitment or whatever it is. If you're really committed to what you do outside of your family, those things are going to come up. So everybody out there can say that in their life at one point or another, that they wish they would have spent more time here or there or did things a little bit differently. But that's part of life.
Don't ever forget the word quality.
Absolutely.
When you get that commitment, you should be committed and have quality time with all those that you in your family, and that's including football, your personal family, and everything. Yep. Enough of the philosophical. Let me get back to football. We're going to Urbana. We're going to play there now. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff there, 11 o'clock here. So if you're going to listen to the ball game, you're back here in the Central Zone. It will come on at 11. But let's talk about Urbana a little bit. We're looking typical spread, 4-3. It's been pretty easy for me to do the color and analyze after I do video, because most of the time all I'm seeing, other than when we went down in S&T, is we're seeing or when we went to McHenry.
Right.
Of course, that was easy for me. That was in my area.
Yeah, exactly.
But are we looking at 4-3 spread?
They're a 3 down front primarily, defensively, which isn't foreign to us. We do a lot of that as well, and that's been our history a little bit too. So that's not foreign to us offensively. Urbana offensively is a spread scheme, a lot of 10 and 11 personnel groups and some 21 and inside zone, outside zone, some pull scheme up front. Quarterback's a good player. They played 2 quarterbacks last year, and this one was a sophomore, number 4, and number 10, I believe, last year.
Yeah.
Number 4 is their primary guy now, and he's a good football player. He can beat you with his arm or beat you with his feet, and he'll take whatever opportunity you give him, and he'll make the most of it. So it'll be another big challenge for us this week, and that's what you find. Quarterbacks are quarterbacks because they're a lot of times teams' best players.
You bet.
And we're going to see the same thing this week. And then, they're one of the top teams in the conference, which means they're probably good on offense and defense. And when you're good in those areas, you're going to be good on special teams as well. So, we'll strap it up on Saturday and pull into the stadium and head out on the field and get ready to play again.
Yeah, again, just a quick reminder, for those of you who can't make that 10.5-hour trip over there, just want to remind you that we will kick it off at 12 there, 11 here our time. And if you want to pick it up, of course, we'll have a broadcast and we'll be on radio and be ready to roll. Yeah, and it'll start at 10:30 here.
Yeah.
So again, hopefully everybody get on board. Again, we'll improve, stay with the program, stay with it. Stay focused and keep going down that road. And sooner or later the worms are going to turn and things will go the Cardinals' way.
Absolutely. We're actually excited about the noon kickoff. It's actually 11 o'clock kick. We're going to get back 2 or 3 hours earlier than we did from Indianapolis last week because for whatever reason we decided we played a night game at Indianapolis last week. So. From a schedule standpoint, the trip back actually should be a little bit better, even though it's a couple hours longer.
That's good. Well, that finishes up for Inside the Cardinal Playbook, presented by UPS, 5510 Northeast Antioch Road in North Kansas City, and we'll see you again next week with Inside the Cardinal Playbook.